I would just like to have like a little roundtable discussion with this PLC group, since you guys you show that you extremely worked hard working together, your PLC group. So we really just want to dive into that and see how that you've accomplished how you accomplished what you have this year. So the first question is, what do you feel are the benefits to working together in your PLC group?
Personally, I'll start. I mean, personally, I think I felt better about this year than I have about any other year, because I've been able to work with people who teach the same subject as me, content area, get feedback, whereas before we had different planning, and I don't think I ever saw you across the
possibly
way.
in passing in the hallway, like, oh hey, how's it going?
Right,
yeah,
so I think it was a huge benefit in that area, because we're talking about our standards, we're talking about what we're teaching, and we're getting feedback about our content, not just about the kids we're working with, because that's team-based, but about our content, which is what we're responsible for teaching, and I thought it was great.
I agree totally. This was my first year back into language arts, so this has been vitally important to me to be able to know where I'm supposed to focus and what we're looking at now, how it's changed in the 10 years since I've taught it. So, and these guys have been great resources and help for me.
Last year was my first year teaching language arts, so this year I felt more comfortable being able to meet with everyone weekly. Unlike last year, I mean, I'd go for help here and there, but it was just
a little fragmented.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, everybody was kind of on a different page.
Yeah,
and different lessons and whatnot. So it was okay. Where am I supposed to be at?
I want to piggyback on that. Last year we were different lessons. Oh, I'm going to do it in February. Oh, he's doing it in May. And the kids are friends, and the parents are friends, and they talk. Oh, well, why is my kid doing it with this teacher, and we're doing something completely different over here? So I think that even helped the students and the parents that we were all on the same topic. We're all doing the same standards and things like that. So I think everybody, not just us, I think the students and the parents also definitely noticed the shift and felt more comfortable, because 6th grade is also difficult because there's enough panic with the shift into middle school. Yeah. So I think that helped them, even when they're talking to their friends, to know, okay, this is what everybody's doing. So I think that definitely added to it as well. So
yeah,
that was all PLC.
I use it a lot with my students. We've all decided that this was the best, thing that how we were gonna present this, and if there was a groan, it's like, hey, we're all doing it across. It's not just me being mean and language arts teacher. It's those guys.
Welcome to the Frankenstein.
How do you do it? If I'm going down, I'm taking them with me.
Unified approach. Did you want to?
Well, I think as an ICT, it's been nice to be able to work with the same teachers weekly and come in, and I know what they're doing, where you're all working, what stories you're reading, and to pull resources. I think it's been great. I've enjoyed being able to do that, and I think just the growth that I've seen from the beginning to now, it's phenomenal. I think it's been a great year for that. It's allowed teachers to work together with the content, and that's been very important, I think.
Yeah, it makes the focus the content, the standards.
Yeah. The shows in the classroom. I think it just went a lot smoother with presenting stuff and sharing and having each other to go to say, I don't know, what are we doing wrong here? Or we didn't really have a lot of that. It was very well thought out, I think. So,
and Donna's been great. She's pulled resources for us whenever we wanted, so having her part of our PLC is fantastic. Mr. Bruno has been there to able to bring some of that vertical information down to us too, from 7th and 8th grade. So having them as part of it too can be a huge help for us. So let us know, because I know when we started Argumentative, 7th grade had already started teaching it, and we were trying to align how we approached it, similar to what they approached it, but not exactly the same, because there has to be that progression as they move up in the grades. And we need to have that common language. So I think, that provided some insight too for us.
So it's a full collaborative approach. So as we know that this was like a new type of way of work for us this year. So reflecting back, even on the beginning of the year when we were starting to come together and to work together in this way, I'm sure that, there were some challenges along the way. So I was curious to see, what types of challenges possibly you had in the beginning, and then how you overcame those challenges together as a PLC.
You know what I think of this year for challenges? This year was challenging because we had PLCs that were new. We had Discovery Ed that was new. We're hitting Common Core standards now, Florida standards, which were newer. So I mean, that was a whole lot of new being thrown at you at once. So I think that for me was a big challenge. And just trying to make sense of all of that. But PLCs were helpful because we kind of all got to wade through it. I can't even imagine trying to figure this out like last year. That would have not happened. And I think another challenge is when you're in a subject area for, more than a year or two, you have stuff that you always do. And so when we come to PLCs and we were deciding what would be best, oh, well, I always do this, it's kind of hard sometimes to let that go and say, okay, well, the team has decided, though, let's try this way instead, or let's try this story instead. So that's a little bit of a challenge to get comfortable with, letting go something that you do all the time to try something new. But it went well, so it was worth it.
And I know second quarter that we didn't make the plan.
Right. Yes.
All of us afterwards, because the first quarter we had like a calendar and we're going to do this week.
Turn the page. We were turning the page at the same time.
Right. Okay, here we are. So second quarter, we did
nice turn the page.
You can hear it.
Yeah. So, but second quarter we didn't do that, and we were all like,
oh, it's
lost.
Yeah.
So third quarter we were like, we have to have it done, and then fourth quarter.
We
So
realized the value right away.
Oh yeah, we
Right.
have our little calendar.
Yeah.
On
That's
that
it.
We're seeing what we're doing. That's our guide. I love it.
So-
It worked beautifully.
Well,
I mean-
and one of the challenges I thought was, would have been for me even more, like on my own, but looking at the standards and all, and then trying to find material that was
Right.
going to help, present it the best. But with everyone working together, lots of ideas were out there, and we
use
just.
this, or she would have.
And we would appreciate everyone's ideas instead of saying, well, that's, like you said, that's not the way I always do it. It's more like, well, why not do it that way? So
Yeah.
it was really good.
And I think that's one of the benefits of our group is because when we came into this, we were all very on board.
Mm-hmm.
We were all like, okay,
We saw the
let's do
benefits.
this. We're going to be doing the same assessments. We're going to get on a calendar. We're going to get this done. We're going to do a great job, and it's going to be meaningful.
She's
So
the leader. She kind of
presented it like
Pay attention.
We're going to put up the whip and all that stuff.
my name is McCracken. I was cracking the whip. So. But no, I mean, I think all of us on the same page coming in was a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like that first meeting we were all fighting about,
Yeah. None of us were
No,
resistant
no,
to the
right.
idea. We came open-minded.
That would probably be the key
And it
Yes.
the workload
for the other groups.
The workload was,
Oh, yeah.
and it cut into a quarter. I mean, like you said, because we all agreed on a resource, so I didn't have to go and search, 3 hours to try to figure out what I'm going to use.
and that helped a lot with our differentiating between advanced and basic
Yes.
too.
Oh yeah.
Because we, had to come up with different materials for both, and that was huge because we each could say, okay, well, I've used this. Okay, that looks like it would be more advanced, or this would be more something we could use with our basic class. So.
And I didn't have as much resources because I wasn't doing it, but they were all very generous in sharing it. So everyone was very willing to say, here, I looked at this, see what you think for the next meeting. And that was really helpful, especially for me.
So thinking about, other PLCs, because we know this is a huge district initiative that we have this year, is working in collaborative groups and PLCs across all schools and all levels. Knowing what has worked for you guys, and then also taking into consideration some of the challenges you guys overcame, what types of recommendations would you give other PLC groups that are working together?
Be open to it.
Oh, yeah.
Be open right away. Thinking it's a positive thing. It's going to help in the long run way more than it's going to be a hassle.
Yeah. Share.
Share.
Yeah.
Don't keep everything to yourself. You have to share your ideas.
It's not about you looking good. It's about all of our
Right.
language arts kids getting the benefit of what we're doing
Right.
together.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are resistant because it's during planning periods, and I understand. A lot of people don't want to give up their planning, and it's one more meeting during planning, and that's the big resistance. But once you function, I get more planning done here
Yes.
than I do every other planning day of the week.
Yes.
I get more done here, and then we often
It's
will seek
focused.
each other out during planning on a different day
Yes.
and touch base. Oh hey,
Yeah.
what happened today, and what are you doing tomorrow? And so once you're in it and everybody's in it, it's actually more worthwhile to
Yeah,
plan
because you
together.
are not planning. You're not planning on your own as much
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you get a lot covered with your group, with
Share the
all of your
burden.
brains coming together.
So the rest of my planning is like copying the assessments
Yes.
that we created here,
Right.
instead of spending 3 planning periods by myself creating the
Creating the
assessment.
assessment.
Yes. Oh
You
yeah.
know. So that
definitely
was,
benefit.
oh yeah, huge.
And if people would just keep that in mind,
Yes.
you know, going into it, or at least have that be out there somewhere, that it's going to really, in the long run, going to be much more beneficial to you if you go with this
Right.
than if you try and resist it, or at least it's been that way for all of
Yeah,
us.
that's helpful.
The sooner you go with it, the sooner you can be high functioning and get to that point
Yep.
where you're really planning and getting a lot of work done.
Mm-hmm.
The longer it
Seeing
takes
those
you to get there,
outcomes.
Right.
yeah, right, the more time you're wasting.
I think that really covers my questions. You know, I had a couple more, but I think you guys hit them on, you know, your discussions here. So I'm just very appreciative of one, you guys' openness to allow us to come in a second time and be willing to share the way that you have, because that's rare. Not everybody is as open and, you know, as candid as you guys are. I do really appreciate your time.
Thank you.